Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika Mehto, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Economic Survey of India tabled in the Parliament. Chief Economic Advisor says economy is on a strong wicket and stable footing amid global challenges. India's economic growth projected at 6.5 to 6.7%. Let's work together for the country. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges the parliamentarians, says country does not need negativity. US President Joe Biden drops out of presidential race after weeks of relentless pressure from fellow Democrats, endorses Kamala Harris as the nominee. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu heads for Washington at a time when Israel decides to send a delegation for hostage deal talks with Hamas on the 25th of July. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a statement to the media before the start of the budget session of Parliament in the capital, New Delhi, on Monday. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterated the pride in the fact that after a gap of 60 years, a government has come for the third consecutive year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the budget is a milestone budget of the Amrit Kal.
हमें 5 साल का जो अवसर मिला है, आज का बजट हमारे उन 5 साल के कार्य की दिशा भी तय करेगा और ये बजट 2047 जब आजादी के 100 साल होंगे तब विकसित भारत का जो हमारा सपना है, उस सपने को पूरा करने की मजबूत नींव वाला बजट लेकर के हम कल देश के सामने आएंगे.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that the country requires positive views that take it forward.
हमारे सभी माननीय सांसद पूरी तैयारी के साथ चर्चा को समृद्ध करेंगे. कितने ही विरुद्ध विचार होंगे, विरुद्ध विचार बुरे नहीं होते हैं, नकारात्मक विचार बुरे होते हैं. जहां सोचने की सीमाएं समाप्त हो जाती है, देश को नकारात्मकता की जरूरत नहीं है. देश को एक विचारधारा, प्रगति की विचारधारा, विकास की विचारधारा, देश को नई ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाने वाली विचारधारा से हमें आगे बढ़ाना होगा.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman tabled the Economic Survey 2024 in Lok Sabha today. The survey projected India's real GDP grew by 8.2% in financial year 2024, exceeding 8% mark in 3 out of 4 quarters of financial year 2024. So global economic growth has been 3.2% in 2023 as per the April World Economic Outlook. Diverging growth patterns have also emerged among the countries. Gross fixed capital formation increased by 9% in real terms in 2023-24. After averaging 6.7% in financial year 2023, retail inflation also declined to 5.4% in the year financial year 2024. Further, if we talk about it, in India, consumer goods and services faced price hikes due to international conflicts and adverse weather conditions impacting food costs as well. Now, it also says that prospects for continued strong growth in financial year 2025 beyond looks good, subject to geopolitical, financial market and climatic risk. Double-digit and broad-based growth in bank credit, Gross and net non-performing assets at multi-year lows and improvement in bank asset quality highlight the government's commitment to a healthy and stable banking sector. And retail fuel inflation stayed low in financial year 2024. And response to rising inflationary pressure, the RBI or the Reserve Bank of India has now increased the repo rate gradually by 250 basis points since May 2022. Now, consequently, core inflation declined by around 4 percentage points between April 2022 and June 2024. Food inflation stood at 6.6% in financial year 2023 and increased to 7.5% in financial year 24 due to extreme weather events, depleted reservoirs and crop damage as well. Now, in financial year 2024, most states and union territories witnessed decreased inflation rates, with 29 out of 36 recording rates below 6%, consistent with the overall decline in all India average retail inflation compared to financial year 23. So, the RBI also projects inflation to fall to 4.5% in financial year 25 and 4.1% in financial year 26, assuming normal monsoon and no external or policy shocks in this case. Similarly, the International Monetary Fund forecasts inflation of 4.6% in 2024 and 4.2% in 2025 for India. Addressing a press conference on the Economic Survey 2024, Chief Economic Advisor Dr. V. Anant Nageswaran highlighted that agriculture sector is expected to perform better in the coming year. He also said that it is one of the sectors that can be a crucial driver of economic growth.
Given what I showed you earlier about the way the global trades and the global growth is evolving and the kind of protectionism that is becoming rife, agriculture actually still carries a huge potential for driving growth if only we can make sure that the incentives are aligned and allied services in agriculture are also encouraged and land consolidation also happens in a big way.
Meanwhile, during the question hour in the lower house of the Indian Parliament, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that a lot of steps have been taken on ease of doing business, including setting up of a central processing system as well.
The most important part of this is zero fee for incorporation has been brought in for companies with authorized capital of up to 15 lakhs, meaning small companies which have small capitals with which they start their business, there is no fee charged. These are as a matter of ease of doing business, other than simultaneously acting on reducing the pendency in the courts. The most important question which Sri Jagadambika Pal raised about the SEBI, sir, I want to underline the fact that the reforms which have been brought by the SEBI, particularly in timelines which have been given for settlement of claims, is a remarkable step taken forward, and our markets have also been, and companies have also benefited from it. In fact, we are far ahead of the very many other countries where companies law, similar companies law operate. They are still not able to settle claims within even T+6, T+5 or T+4. We have even come to T+1, which is effectively being run today.
And now I am joined by business correspondent Ajay Mishra from Newsroom. A very good evening to you, Ajay. When we talk about the economic survey report, it says that the Indian economy is resilient and has seen strong recovery post the pandemic especially. How do we see it more prominently in today's economic survey report, Ajay?
Yeah, thanks, Deepika. Good evening. I think when you compare the growth rate during the COVID era, now the Indian economy have almost shown the impressive growth of 20% from the COVID era, which means that we are one of the fastest growing economy within the emerging markets, and the 8.2% stellar performance last year has been unmatched. It has not been performed by any other economy except India, where we have grown by almost 8% in the three quarters. But look at the last 3 years. In the last 3 fiscal years, Deepika, the growth rate has been 8% plus, which is unparalleled and unmatched by any other economy. It is just like the growth rate observed in China when it was growing very fast on its way to become a large developing economy. Now the similar kind of performance is being showcased by the Indian economy, and the economic survey says that it is steady as it goes going forward, which is very important. Next very important factor is the inflation management, both by the RBI as well as by the central government, and it is the monetary policy matched with fiscal policies of Government of India which has led to the moderation of inflation, which is very crucial. In 23, it was 6.7%. The inflation was 6.7%, while it has come down to 5.4% last year, which is very important, because inflation is one factor which affects you and me and all the sectors of the economy. Going forward, the moderation in the inflation is expected to be to the tune of 4.5% of 4.5%, and we know that the comfort level of RBI is 4%. So we are heading steadily on the path of moderation on the inflation front, which is also very important. On the external front, Deepika, a very bright picture has emerged where the CAD, the current account deficit, has now come down from 2% of GDP to just 0.7%. It has a positive impact on the stability of the rupee. So stability is the key word which has been showcased in today's economic survey. We understand that whether it is on the external front, whether it is on the value of the rupee, on the growth front, as well as on the inflation front, performance of the financial and banking sector, stability, and the strong performance of manufacturing and especially the services exports is what have been highlighted by this economic survey.
Considering today's report that talks and stresses a lot on stability, now there are a lot of expectations from tomorrow's budget as well, Ajay. What has been the underlining points for the finance minister, the entire government, the current government, before releasing tomorrow's budget? Because we also have to remember the fact that we are in the race of entering the top 3 economies as well.
Deepika, it's very dangerous to predict what the finance minister is going to say tomorrow on the floor of the parliament for the very first budget of NDA 3.0. But I think the stability is the core underlying factor which the government want to stick on. The fiscal discipline is going to be prominently focused in tomorrow's budget. We might see the fiscal deficit of 5.1% of GDP as targeted in the interim budget. It might be down to 5% because RBI have declared 2.1 lakh crore rupees of dividend to the central government, and also the performance of direct as well as the indirect tax collection has been very impressive. If you see the direct tax collection, it has grown by 23%. When it comes to GST collection, it has grown by almost 11% in the last 3 months. So these are some of the comfort factors which the finance minister is going to enjoy. But I think the focus would be on the rural economy, focus would be on generating employment. But as suggested by this economic survey, the tomorrow's budget will also focus on the MSMEs for the new skill development and also the new technologies of AI, which according to the report, as suggested by economic survey, is going to have a negative impact on the services export, which has doubled in the last 9 years. So yes, we are going to have some great focus on the employment generation and inflation management, along with the macroeconomic stability when it comes to tomorrow's budget. That's what we can predict as of now.
All right. Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining us and bringing a rounded perspective on today's economic survey report, as well as what to expect ahead of tomorrow's budget. Now, how is India's union budget actually prepared? From initial meetings to President's approval, we take a closer look at the process and make it simpler for our audiences in this report.
The Union Budget is an important document that outlines the government's fiscal policies, plans and programs for the upcoming financial year. The budget-making process begins in August and September, almost 6 months before its presentation date. Since this was an election year, an interim budget was presented on the 1st of Feb, while a full budget will be tabled on July 23rd. What does the Union Budget tell us? The amount of money that the government is planning to raise, the amount of money that it wants to spend, the amount of borrowing that it has to do from the market. The process of making a budget involves a number of steps. The Finance Ministry issues circulars to all ministries, states, union territories and autonomous entities at the initial stage in the budget-making process. These circulars include skeletal forms as well as the necessary guidelines which are used by ministries to express their needs and demands. These ministries disclose their earnings and expenses for the previous year in addition to offering estimates. After receiving requests, top government officials evaluate them and have discussions with ministries and the Department of Expenditure. Once the information has been validated, the Finance Ministry then allots revenue to various divisions for their impending outlays. The Finance Ministry also arranges pre-budget meetings with different stakeholders to gain knowledge of their recommendations and requirements. A few days before the budget is announced, the government has an annual tradition of conducting a halwa ceremony. The ceremony heralds the start of budget document printing. A giant kadai or a large frying pot is used to produce halwa, which is then fed to the whole workforce of the Finance Ministry as part of the ceremony. The presentation of the budget to the Parliament is the last phase of the budget making process. On the first day of the budget session, the Finance Minister conducts the presentation. The Minister summarizes the document's key points and explains the thinking behind the proposals during the presentation. Following the presentation, the budget is laid before both houses of Parliament for discussion. Following approval by both houses, the budget is forwarded to the President for approval. The importance of the budget document can never be overlooked as it determines how the government functions and spends its resources to develop the nation. Bureau Report, DD India.
Time to take a short break here on DD India Live, but still to come on the other side. India Meteorological Department predicts monsoon depression over the coast of Odisha. Tadej Pogacar claims his third tour title to become first rider to achieve Tour de France double since 1998. And we at DD India all geared up for an extensive coverage of Paris Olympics 2024.
As the world gears up for the biggest sporting extravaganza, Olympics 2024, we at DD India are all set to bring you reports, reactions and all the latest action from Ground Zero. Watch DD India's super exclusive show, Cheer for Bharat. Only on DD India from July the 22nd at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT. Get ready to cheer for Indian athletes at the Paris Olympics 2024.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India with me, Deepika. Now, after weeks of mounting pressure, United States President Joe Biden on Sunday dropped out of the November presidential election. In an unexpected announcement, USA President Joe Biden stated that he would not seek re-election. Biden said he will remain in his role as the president until his term ends on the 20th of June in the year 2025 and will address the nation this week. He also emphasized the considerable progress made during his tenure, stating that America has the world's strongest economy. Biden also expressed sincere thanks, saying that serving as the president was his greatest honor. After ending his presidential campaign, U.S. President Joe Biden endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. In a statement posted on social media platform X, Biden recalled that his first decision as the Democratic Party's nominee in the year 2020 was to choose Harris as his vice president and termed it as the best decision he's made. Biden also called on Democrats to come together and beat Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Well, Harris will be the first black woman to be a major party candidate for president if chosen by her party at the Democratic National Convention that begins on the 19th of August. Former U.S. President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump responded to Joe Biden's decision to end his campaign, said that he thinks Vice President Kamala Harris will be easier to defeat in November's election than Biden. Trump also attacked Biden and Harris on social media while saying Biden was unfit to continue serving as the president. On his Truth Social platform, Trump wrote that the country has suffered greatly because of Biden's presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly. In some other international development, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will land in Washington on Monday at a time when he's consumed by political turmoil, creating further uncertainty about U.S.-Israeli relations at a crucial moment in the Gaza war. However, in a rather hopeful message, he said Israel will be the United States' strongest ally in the West Asia, regardless of who is elected as the president in November. Currently, Netanyahu is under pressure to end the Gaza conflict, both from Israelis who want hostages brought home and from a U.S. administration focusing increasingly on presidential elections. Now, his itinerary includes a meeting with Joe Biden, tentatively planned for Tuesday if he has recovered from COVID-19, and also an address to the Congress on Wednesday. Overall, it seems the visit offers Netanyahu a platform to try to reset relations with Washington.
And I will tell my friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East. I plan to see President Biden. There will also be an opportunity to discuss with him how to advance in the critical months ahead the goals that are important for both our countries. Achieving the release of all our hostages, defeating Hamas, confronting the terror axis of Iran and its proxies, and ensuring that all Israel citizens return safely to their homes in the north and in the south.
Earlier, in response to various rallies demanding a deal to release hostages from Gaza, Netanyahu on Sunday decided to bring the country back to the negotiating table for a hostages for ceasefire deal in Gaza. Netanyahu's office issued a statement stating that Israel will send a delegation charged with negotiating a hostage deal with Hamas on Thursday. However, the statement did not mention details about Netanyahu's U.S. visit, considering the demands by Israelis for him to stay back in the country. On to weather update now. The India Meteorological Department has predicted presence of a monsoon depression over the Odisha coast. Under its influence, isolated extremely heavy rainfall, which is expected over South Chhattisgarh. A similar weather is also expected in Gujarat for the next 4 to 5 days. The IMD has issued a red alert for heavy rainfall in Uttarakhand and Gujarat and an orange alert for coastal Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Goa and Madhya Pradesh. You're watching DD India Live, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. First up, from professional cycling. Tadej Pogacar became the first rider to achieve Tour de France doubles since 1998 as he claimed his third Tour title, cementing his domination by winning the final stage for his sixth stage success. The Slovenian beat defending champion Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark and Belgian Remco Evenepoel, who was second and third overall, and on the final stage with a winning margin of 6 minutes and 17 seconds.
It's hard to describe how I feel right now. It's all a bit crazy, I would say. The craziest feelings have so far in cycling for me. The moment with the team on the podium in Nice, this was really special. It really warmed my heart.
So India is ready for the upcoming Paris Olympics, and with 117 athletes ready to shine on the global stage, the Indian contingent is geared up. In boxing at Paris Olympics, India's challenge will be led by 6-member strong contingent. After an impressive performance at the previous games, India is determined to return with medals this time. So the biggest hopes will be centered around star boxers Nikhat Zareen, Lavlina Borgohain, Nishant Dev and Amit Pangal. So don't miss out on the special broadcast called Cheer for Bharat as we at DD India gear up for an extensive coverage of Paris Olympics. The show will be aired today at 6:30 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time and 1 o'clock as per Greenwich Mean Time or the GMT. Don't forget to support our athletes and keep cheering for Bharat at the upcoming Paris Olympics.
As the world gears up for the biggest sporting extravaganza, Olympics 2024, we at DD India are all set to bring you reports, reactions and all the latest action from Ground Zero. Watch DD India's super exclusive show, Cheer for Bharat. Only on DD India from July the 22nd at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT. Get ready to cheer for Indian athletes at the Paris Olympics 2024.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehto, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.